So, Papa, during what years did this event occur?
It ended in 1975,
Okay.
and the United States first got involved in it in around 1955.
Oh. And how old were you at this time?
It took care of all of my teenage years and the beginning of my adult years. So I was in my early 20s when the war came to an end.
And where were you living at this time?
I was living in College Point, Queens.
Oh. What was your life like at this time?
Most of the time, it was the part of Vietnam that affected my life the most began when I was in college.
Oh.
And actually right before I went to college, when I was in the Army in the early 1960s.
Okay.
So it was So for me, I became most aware of the Vietnam War in 1962.
And how did you become involved in this event?
Well, I was in the Army in 1962, and that was at that time we didn't have a lot of American soldiers fighting in the war, and we were just advisors to the Vietnamese people, and that was when the Green Beret were the only people going into Vietnam, and they were advisors setting up the Vietnamese army.
Oh, okay. And if you could go back in time and change one thing about the event, what would you exactly change?
I would change the fact that we should have never gotten involved in the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
It wasn't our war.
In your opinion, how did this event change America?
I think it may have been the only time that a war was that divisive. So many brave men young men were asked to go to war, and they all thought that by going to war in Vietnam, we would protect America and our way of life forever. And after being there all that time, until 1972, then what we looked at it and said, what did we really accomplish? And it's a lot of young people died, and we probably could have figured out a better way, and they wouldn't have died.
Huh. What most sticks with you about the event?
Watching it on TV on the 6 o'clock news while we were having dinner, and all they would be showing was how many people were killed that day, and all the body bags, and all the attacks that were going on. It was the first time you ever saw war on TV, a real war, and we probably should have been paying more attention to it and get it stopped sooner.
What do you wish kids today knew about the event?
I wish they knew how their grandparents were called to duty by our country, and even though there was no threat to the United States, they went off to war, and they did their duty as Americans.
And what else can you tell me about the Vietnam War?
It put a permanent mark on the men and women of my generation and my age, because life before that was one big sweet bowl of cherries. And it was the first bad thing that happened in our generation. We lost friends, we lost family. It was a very difficult time in America.
So, like, you guys didn't expect that to happen?
No.
Not at all. Oh. Okay. Great to know.